Good morning. Let us start the lecture. Communication DET 3202. Course outcomes. The students will be able to understand the different communication media, various blocks and application of the optical fiber communication system. The students will be able to understand the optics rules and measure the optical fiber cable parameters. The students will be able to identify suitable optical source for a given application. Students will be able to identify suitable optical detector for given application. The students will be able to identify suitable connectors and measure the losses in optical fiber cable. Students will be able to understand architecture of the optical network for given application. So these are the course outcomes. Very fast we will go through it. Three types of the sources we have seen: continuous spectra, incandescent light, monochromatic infrared sources, light emitting diode. Monochromatic coherent sources, those are lasers. Size and configuration must be compatible of the sources. These are the major requirement of the sources in launching light in highly directional. It must accurately track, means it should be linear so that it will reduce the distortion and noise. It should emit the light with the wavelength which has fiber low loss and detector are efficient or that wavelength. Preferably capable of simple signal modulation, and it should have the audio to gigahertz range for the modulation. It should couple the optical power, sufficient optical power to overcome the attenuation and connector losses, fiber attenuation, connector losses, and it should provide the sufficient power to drive the detector. It should have very narrow spectral bandwidth to avoid the dispersion. It must be maintaining a stable output with the temperature like conditions, ambient condition. It should be comparatively cost effective, highly reliable to compete the other media. And we know the photon is a packet of energy bundle and it can interact with the material which like semiconductor material for the devices, and absorption and emission causes the atom to transit from one state to other state. So absorption, photon emitted, and atom goes from lower to higher state. In spontaneous emission, atom goes from higher to lower state by emitting one photon. And in stimulated emission, external photon makes the atom to transit from higher to lower state and emitting one more photon in phase and in with same wavelength. So it is coherent and monochromatic. So it is spontaneous in LED, stimulated in laser. Absorption emission of the radiation, both the cases, the energy and frequency relation is E is equal to HF, and E2 E is E2 minus E1. E2 is higher energy state and E1 is lower energy state, where EH is a Planck's constant, 6.626 10 raised to minus 34 joule seconds. In absorption case, whenever photon get absorbed, energy state from E1 to E2 is transferred by the for the atomic structure process of absorption. In the emission process, again high energy state E2 atoms transit to low energy state E1 by emitting the photon equal to energy equal to E equal to HF E2 minus E. And emissions are two types: stimulated and spontaneous and stimulated. In spontaneous, the atom returns to lower energy from higher and in random manner. So it is random in nature, and it emits electronic light. It emits the light by electronic transition. It is incoherent radiation, and it is absorbing LED. And in stimulated emission, the already photon is higher energy state. Energy state. External photon having the band gap energy E2 minus E1 interacts and then transits the atom to lower energy state by creation of the one more photon. And the emitted photon generally is same, identical with the, and light of stimulating and stimulated photon are in phase. That's why it is coherent radiation. That's why incident wave and liberated wave are in constructive manner they are adding, and that gives the amplification, like amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. This is a structure Field circle and empty circles are electron holes, negative or acceptor and positive or donor. And this we have discussed many times and we have revised also. And the structure is having P type, N type with acceptor and donor respectively, and P type having hole and N type are having large number of electrons, and also minority charge carriers are there in P type electron, N type holes, and this is the depletion layer due to the neutralization. And this is energy band. There is a gap difference in the conduction energy in P type energy and N type, and this is called potential barrier. Potential barrier can be reduced or vanished by application of the bias voltage. So bias voltage reduces the potential bias barrier, as well as it gives the energy to cross this potential barrier to the charge particles, and minority charge, large number of minority charge particles cross the junction, and there they take the recombination, and recombination affects the photon emission, and this is a random and in direction, space, and time. So it is spontaneous emission. So electron hole recombination gives the emission of equal to band gap energy. There are two types of the emissions: radiative and non-radiative. In non-radiative, energy released is dissipated in the lattice vibration and converted into heat. Radiative recombination, it emits the photon of Eg equal to hf or hcf or lambda, whereas the Planck's constant C is the velocity of the light in vacuum. If you substitute all these, you can rearrange the equation as lambda equal to uh, 1.24 divided by Eg, or Eg equal to 1.24 divided by lambda. Both these are in micrometer and electron volt. Whenever Eg is to be calculated, lambda to be substituted directly in micrometer, and whenever lambda is to be calculated, Eg is to be substituted directly in electron volt. So 1.24 divided by Eg or 1.24 divided by lambda. These are the equations. So this is the structure shown, which is having the biasing positive and negative, and this is the p-n junction, this is the p type of the region, and this is the n type of the region, and electrons and holes becoming minority charge carriers crossing the junction, and then the recombination takes place by emitting the photons in all the direction with the random manner. So this is the spontaneous emission. In case of laser action, we require a population inversion. Population inversion means inversion of the thermal equilibrium state. The thermal equilibrium state, the Boltzmann distribution is there, and the particular curve is followed by the atomic structure to have the higher energy state density of the atom and lower energy state density of the atom. So it follows this curve. So always the lower energy state density of the atom is higher than the higher energy state density of atom, but this is not supporting the amplification or radiation of large number of photons. That's why the uh, inversion of this, that is a higher energy number of atoms must be larger, and lower energy number of atoms will be lesser. This inversion is required. This is called population inversion, and this is achieved by action called as pumping action, and pumping can be done with the either intense radiation like optical flash or high frequency radio, and in semiconductor it is achieved with the applied bias voltage biasing. So this is the population inversion. Higher energy level is having more atoms, and lower energy levels are having less atomic density. So N2 is higher, more than N1, and this is due to the pumping effect. So this shows the Fabry-Pérret cavity structure. This amplifying medium semiconductor device, which is having the two side mirror facets, which either they are provided externally or by polishing the material, same material can be then converted into mirror. So these edges are corrugated, roughened, so that the photons in that direction will be better. So always photon travels in this direction, and they oscillate due to the mirror. So one mirror is semi-transparent to give the optical output from this. partial number of photons are reflected, partial are given out. So this is the light amplification in the laser that occurs by photons collide with the atom, then they causes the stimulated emission, secondary photons, both the photons release two more photons, this is the avalanche multiplication, and these are in phase that creates the amplified coherent emission. And laser action, the photon must be within the laser medium always. Photons must be maintain the condition of coherence. Then for that the plane curved or mirrors are placed or they are formed in the semiconductor material. Mirrors are either end of the amplifying medium. So this optical cavity formed is similar to oscillator than the amplifier. It provides the positive feedback of photons by reflection from the mirror. An optical signal is played back many times while receiving the amplification as it passes through the medium. So this becomes the Fabry-Perot resonator. So amplification of signal is small whenever it passes only once, but if multiple passes are there of the photons due to the mirrors, the net gain is large. The mirror partially is one mirror is partially transmitting that gives the radiation to escape that becomes the output of the uh, laser cavity. Okay. So stable output is of optical gain is exactly matched with the losses. Losses are overcome by the gain, and then the stable output is obtained from the amplifier media. So major losses are from in the amplifier media. Also the losses are from absorption, scattering and diffraction of the mirrors and unuseful transmission through the mirrors. So this is the one more property of the laser cavity or the laser structure, and it has the gain curve or gain envelope. So whatever the frequencies are there, out of that only these many frequencies it provides the gain and amplification, and only these many photons having these frequencies are supported for multiplication, avalanche multiplication. So instead of single frequency, some discrete frequency are supported by the laser cavity. So why discrete? Because the oscillations of the photons establishes the standing waves, and standing waves are established whenever there is a half wave established, which are integral multiple of the length of the crystal, and this number of half waves makes the discrete frequency creation. So if you consider the crystal as amplifying all the frequencies, then theoretically infinite number of frequencies from very low to very high can be possible as a discrete frequency output, and that will become make that crystal device a continuous spectrum, not monochromatic. But due to this gain curve, which is the uh, physics limitation of the due to physical property of the crystal, it is having the gain curve limitation, and it puts the limitation of amplifying only certain frequencies, and that amplification curve is also having very less bandwidth. Okay, so this is very narrow bandwidth curve. So some very few number of discrete frequencies are amplified. So theoretically, we are saying that laser is monochromatic, but it is not monochromatic. It is having certain number of frequencies. That is band of spectral bandwidth is there, narrow line width is there. So practically, it is having few 5, 10, 20 frequencies, but these 5, 10, 20 frequencies are also very narrow bandwidth, and we can assume this as the monochromatic source. So central frequency of this is maximum amplitude frequency is the energy level difference of the stimulated emission. Other frequencies are according to the thermal motions. And medium allows the amplification under the gain curve only, And with a sufficient population inversion and amplifying medium, radiation builds up and establishes a standing waves. So these are the standing waves, and accordingly, the various frequencies are generated. And this relation is given as length of the crystal equal to lambda q upon 2n, where lambda is the emission wavelength, n is the refractive index, and q is the integer, which is integral multiple of. So standing wave exists only in the frequencies of distance between the mirrors is integral multiple of half wavelength. So integral multiple of L. Q is the number which is integral multiple of L. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, etc. Q minus 3, Q minus 2, Q minus 1, Q minus Q, Q plus 1, Q plus 2, etc. Also, the frequency can be given as QC upon 2NL. These formulae for delta F and delta lambda also we have derived, and the difference between two frequencies is C upon 2NL. This formula also we have derived in the previous lectures. So this is just the revision. The difference in frequency of oscillation in a laser cavity is determined by various integer values, various Q values. So these are the frequencies, discrete frequencies, which are supported by the gain curve. Okay. So this is very narrow spectral bandwidth. So frequency on x-axis, intensity of light on the other one. So this we have seen in the previous lecture. So modes are separated by delta F is equal to C upon 2NL. As per this figure, C upon 2NL. So this is the formula, and from that we can derive the wavelength mode separation as that lambda square upon 2n. So spectral output from device is defined by the gain curve. So gain curve defines the spectral output, how much spectral output is there, how many frequencies are there, that is decided by gain curve. Hence the laser emission only includes the longitudinal modes containing it within the spectral width of the gain curve. So this is heterojunction. So the layer of structure is shown here, the energy band diagram is shown here, and the refractive index diagram and electric field distribution is shown. So what is heterostructure? The multiple materials are there which are having the different band gap energies, and these are developed by adding the proportion, different proportion for making the alloys of the semiconductor material. And this proportion also changes the refractive indices of the material also. So refractive index can be changed, the band gap energies can be changed. Here we can see the band gap energy are different for different materials. So minimum is in the active region. So this region is having minimum band gap energy, so that all the charged particles accumulates in this region, and that region will have only the active recombinations of electrons and holes and radiation of the photons. So photons will be generated only within very small region, active region, and that is giving the optical output as here. And this active region is made, manufactured, fabricated very thin, so that all the photons will remain within that active region, and the photon concentration becomes very high in that region. So to make the photon concentration more, to allow the photons or support the photons to remain only in that region, the optical fiber like refractive index is developed as shown in this figure C. So this is the development of the optical fiber like condition, that is the active region is having higher refractive index, and passive other two layers, neighboring layers are having less refractive index. So this gives the optical fiber like condition. The active region is maintaining all the photons, and photons do not go in the other layer. This is called optical confinement. Same is there with the electrical distribution. Electrical field is made maximum in the active region and less in the other region, so that that electrical pumping or active region in population inversion in the active region is higher. So active region is having energy level is more dense concentration, and active level is having photon concentration and high level energy atom concentration both denser. So that makes the active layer radiating very intense light in directional fashion, in the coherent fashion, and this gives the laser action. So heterojunctions are also used in the LED. Are nothing but the interfacing between two crystals with different band gap energy. If same material heterojunction is there, it is isotype. Otherwise, different material anisotype. That is barrier as a confinement to the charge carriers. Carrier confinement to provide carrier diffusion and volume for the radiative combination to make the required density larger. It is also used in the LED to provide a transparent layer close to the active region, which is substantially reduce the absorption of light. It provides the radiation confinement also in the active region, thing like a waveguide, optical waveguide. So this is the optical fiber-like condition is there. So active region refractive index is higher and neighboring other region refractive index is lower. So this results the carrier and optical confinement results the reduce the threshold current necessary for laser action. So laser action requires some threshold current that is reduced by factor of 100. Thus stimulated emission current is of the order of 50 to 200 milliampere. This technique is widely used for fabrication of the injection lasers and high radiance LEDs. So this is about the heterojunctions. So injection lasers or injection laser diode ILDs are having major advantages over the LED. What are their? Radiance is large due to amplifying effect and generally supply milliwatts of the optical power. A very narrow line width of 1 nanometer there for the laser, and that reduce the dispersion and modulation capacity extend up to giga, and further they are can be improved. The temporal coherence is used, which is useful in the single having the coherent detection in the high capacity systems. The good is there, spatial coherence is there, good spatial coherence that allows beam to have the lens provision to make a greater intensity this focused emission. So unfocused dispersed emission is not there. Okay, it has the more intense and undispersed and focused emission. So spatial coherence permits the efficient coupling of the optical output power into the fiber with even very low numerical aperture. So it is pencil-like beam, so it can couple very low numerical aperture fibers very efficiently. So these are the 5 different layers. So this one is the very thin active layer. Around the active layer, there are 2 confinement layers, and around the confinement layer, those are conductive layers N plus P plus. And active layer width-wise, if considered totally, then it will have very large divergence angle in the width-wise. Whereas in the height-wise, active region is very thin. That's why this angle of divergence is very very less. But one side angle of divergence is very less, but other side angle of divergence is totally 180-degree Lambert-Ehm. So that will not give the pencil-like beam. For that, the strip geometry is achieved. Having the strip generally 2 micrometer to 65 micrometer. Some structures typically use the 5 micrometer, 10 micrometer, 20 micrometer. These are also possible. Are there. So strip geometry is used in the injection laser as well as high radiance LED also use the strip geometry in which the active vertical direction is there in the structure. At the same time, horizontal direction active region is totally spread from one end to other end, but the conducting region for the device is made very very short, small, with the help of strip contact. Okay. So contact is made for very thin area, and other area is insulated with semi silicon dioxide insulating layer. So this hatched is silicon dioxide insulator layer. So this is the insulating layer below the conducting layer. Okay. So that makes width-wise also very narrow active region for optical photon emission. Okay. So in this way, horizontally it gives 9 degree and vertically it is giving 45-degree divergence angle as shown here for the beam, and then the beam becomes very sharp pencil beam. So this is also actually the gain guided laser and dex guided laser. In gain guided, the proton isolation is there and PN junction isolation is there. Proton is the high resistivity implanted region, and this do not conduct the electrical current. So electrical current is conducted only in this region, and that becomes very thin active region on one side, and other side the it is shortened by electrical current. Okay, so only this much is the active region which gives the optical output. So that becomes a very pencil like beam. So similarly, if positive is connected, there the N layer is there. So NP becomes the reverse bias, and this will not conduct any current. And P is implanted for very small region, and this diffuse the P region, then conduct the electrical current only for very small region. So this much is the region where the active region gets the current, and active region is again having very less width as well as height wise emission of the photon. So that gives a very pencil-like beam. So again the ridge waveguide is there. The same is achieved with the very small P-type region, which is sandwiched in between the silicon dioxide, and that gives the conduction for very very less area. And other structure is again the similar. So one more structure is there in which the N substrate is there, N material layer is there, the same N material layer on other side. Sorry, this material layer is on other side, and this is the active region which is sandwiched in between these two uh, wells of N type ALGS, and then there is one more region which is PALGAS, and then it is active region physically is shortened in width-wise and height-wise also. So this also gives the pencil-like beam, and this is having the width of the order of 1 micrometer. So this is the buried heterostructure. So LED light emitting diode, we also discussed this, which is having the advantages as simpler fabrication, no mirror facets are there, there may be strip geometry or no strip geometry. So that reduces the cost due to simple construction. It has a higher reliability because it consumes less power, and no catastrophic degradation and no gradual degradation is there. And immune for self pulsation and modal noise problems are also there, and it is having less temperature dependence of the light output, and current characteristic, if you see, the less affected by the temperature than the injection lesion, and it is not having any threshold, it is not a threshold device, so there is no problem of raising the temperature and raising the threshold itself, and this will not having the halt in the operation. So this is the advantage that it is having simpler drive circuitry because it do not require any temperature compensation circuit, and it works on very less current. So lower drive currents are there and no temperature dependency there. So linear light output is obtained from this because it is linear device, and development of high radiance and relatively high bandwidth is possible. So these are the advantages, but disadvantages are it is giving very less power in the microhertz, it has lower modulation bandwidth, and LED has harmonic distortion. LED power efficiency equations we have seen, and today we are discussing the problems based on these. The power and efficiency formula are eta internal equal to RR upon, which is internal quantum efficiency. see. But we have to solve the problems on this. Eta internal is RR upon RT, where RR is radiative recombination rate and RT is the total recombination rate. Then RNR is also there, and that is recombination. And this RR and RNR can be uh, formulated as RT is equal to RR plus RNR. Radiative recombination plus non-radiative recombination is total recombination. Okay. So sometimes total recombination is only given as R. So there is a time tau. Total recombination time is equal to tau 1 tau R plus 1 upon tau NR. So this is also one formula which gives the time of radiative recombination charges, lifetime of the non-radiative of the total recombination charges. So 1 upon tau is equal to 1 upon 2R plus 1 upon 2NR. So this is also one more formula. So in case of internal recombination, internal quantum efficiency becomes just opposite to this RR upon RT. So here it becomes in the numerator to R in the denominator. Total lifetime divided by radiative recombination. So radiative recombination rate is in the numerator. Here lifetime is in the denominator. Okay. And total radiative recombination lifetime is in the numerator. Rate and time formula are just opposite. Frequency and time are always opposite. Rate of recombination is nothing but frequency. Internally by the LED P internal to the crystal. What is the optical power generated? Eta internal to I into H into F divided by E, or eta internal into H into C into I divided by E. Eta internal quantum efficiency I is the current, F is the frequency, E is the charge of electrons, C is the velocity of light, lambda is the wave. This formula will use in solving the problem. So LED efficiency also can be given as external power efficiency of the LED. So what is the external power efficiency? It is defined as the ratio of optical power emitted externally, PE, to the electrical power provided to the device. Electrical power P is nothing but V into I. And the two bias voltage and bias. So external power efficiency is power emitted out of the device divided by electrical power into 100. So simple formula. P emitted upon optical power emitted upon electrical power conducted. So PE upon P multiplied by 100. Then this power emitted, optical power emitted to index N from the face of the planar LED having the LED material refractive Nx is given as P is equal to P internal E of N square upon 4 Nx square, where P internal is internally generated power within the device. F is the transmission factor of semiconductor external interface. So F is the transmission factor of semiconductor. There is a semiconductor material and external may be air outside this semiconductor, or that semiconductor may be uh, packaged into glass, then the external will be glass. Okay. So that or air refractive index is M and the semiconductor refractive index is Nx. Factor between these two media. LED coupling efficiency Nc is also given, eta c is also given as sin square theta, or sin theta is nothing but Na. So it is also given as Na square. So external coupling efficiency, the LED. Coupling efficiency. Coupling efficiency means LED structure. This is the LED support junction. It is emitting the light, and in front of that there is a cable, optical fiber cable. Light is coupled into this PC, optical power coupled into the fiber, which is inside the fiber, launched inside the fiber. So this efficiency, theta c, is nothing but is given as sin square theta, numerical aperture square, sin square theta. Theta is the acceptance angle, Na is the numerical aperture. So this is also for. So these three formula are there, which we have to take into consideration. So double heterojunction structure for LED is also shown again the same. These are the supporting regions. One is P, other active region is also P, and one more is N. So here very clearly we can observe the different band gap energy. For this P is very high, for this N is also very high. Comparatively, this P may be lesser, but compared to the active region, it is high. Band gap energy is very less. So due to that, the charge carriers, minor carriers can accumulate into that active region, and active region will become a recombination area and emission area of the photon. And as the refractive indices of these other layers are made less and active region refractive index is higher, all the photons will be maintained within the active region, and that becomes very narrow beam of the light also. So heterojunctions are also there for high radiance LEDs. So there are two types of the LEDs as we have discussed. This yesterday, that is surface emitter LED, and one more is there, that is edge emitter LED. What is there in the surface emitter LED? Metal contact is made a disconnected ring. That metal contact is not applied for a ring or disc, and through that disc area the semiconductor is transparent, so it can emit the light output from the surface, and the metal cannot transmit the light, so this area is not emitting the light. So wherever the metal is not applied, cut down, so from that window, the light output is possible in, and this light is coming from junction material to from surface side. So it is called surface emitter. So surface emitter structure is also shown here. The structure of ALGAS double heterojunction surface emitting LED. So so this is double heterojunction. Five different layers are there. This is one more layer. These are the four layers, and this is the active region PGAS. These are the two confinement layers, and these are the two P plus N plus. These are the two conducting layers, and there is a N-type GAS substrate-like material which is etched for as a veil, and there the optical fiber structure, this multi-mode optical fiber structure is placed, and to fix all these construction, epoxy resin is used for packaging. So this is the metal tab. This is also metal tab, and the contact uh, of the metal tab is made of only 50 micrometer diameter. So electrically active region is conducting for very small circular area. So active region in width wise and breadth wise becomes very thin. That's why the photons and light beam becomes very pencil light beam in the LED also. So this is a surface emitter LED. So this is junction, and along the junction it is not emitting, it is emitting through the surface. So that's why it is surface emitter. So surface emitter is obtaining high radiance by the restricting emission to the small active region within the device. Very small active region is restricted by current conducting this and also by thin active region. So with homostructure device, each the veil in substrate used in order to prevent heavy absorption. Okay, so that thin layers provide the heavy absorption. So the emitted photons are further not absorbed in the same material due to each etching of the veils. Okay, veil. So that veil reduces the distance from the photon emitted, and material thickness becomes very less and photons through the material. So material cannot reabsorb again. Okay. So directly the photon goes launched into the optical fiber, which is connect. This radiance increases the radiance, and here whatever is there into which it is launched. The structure have low thermal impedance in the active region. So active region has a low thermal impedance to allow high current densities, and that gives the high radiance fiber. The double heterojunction structure gives increased efficiency from electrical and optical confinement. So the laser, electrical optical confinement increases the radiance. So double heterojunction structure does that. So this makes the less absorption and emission of the radiation. So external emission distribution. If the question is there, what is the role of the optical confinement? What is the role of double heterojunction? So it optically and electrically confines as well as the absorption of the emitted radiation. So these are the reason options in the multiple choice. External emission distribution in is Lambrettian with the beam of 120 width. This is the surface which emits the light. Okay, so the light is emitted by 120-degree divergence. Okay, so this is Lambrettian. This is not a pencil-like beam, so it is having the divergence of 120 angle of the divergence. So to the refraction from the high to low refractive index, GS fiber. So power coupled step index fiber in this case, so this particular structure, which is the surface emitter LED, SLED, the power coupled into this particular fiber. So power coupled is PC equal to pi into 1 minus R into A into RD into NA square. So this fiber is further connected with the actual fiber. Then in the power, whatever the power connected to the fiber, same power will go launched into other fiber. So power connected to fiber is PC. Power coupled to the fiber is PC. That is given in this case surface emitter LED. So this formula we have to use for the problem solving of the surface emitter LED to calculate the coupled optical power into the fiber. So pi into 1 minus R into A into RD into NS square. So pi is the 3.414 constant. 1 minus R is the Fresnel reflection coefficient. Materials are there. One is the semiconductor material of the LED and one is glass material of the fiber core. So when photon goes from one material to other material with different refractive index, semiconductor is having suppose 1.78 and glass is having 1.5, different material refractive index is there. Or semiconductor 3 or 3.6 refractive index is there, and glass will be having 1.49. So different refractive index materials, whenever the photon crosses this boundary, some of the photons reflected back in the same material and rest of the photon goes. How much the reflected back is there, that is given by R, Fresnel reflection coefficient. So how much they are crossing into the fiber, they are given as 1 minus R. So R is the Fresnel reflection coefficient. How many are reflected back? So 1 minus of the junction of the one material to the other material. So pi into 1 minus R into area. Suppose this radiating area is suppose A1 and the fiber core area is suppose A2. Now, if fiber core area A2 is larger, okay, then the LED completely covered by the fiber. Okay, so how much area, effective area for optical fiber for photon radiation is this smaller area. This much is the area which radiates, and all the photons radiated is covered by the fiber. So we have to take the A1 area here. That is the LED or device area. And suppose device is and the fiber is having small area. So this is the fiber. So this is A2 is small. So even though device is emitting photons in all the direction, how many photons are covered or launched? Only small area photons, because the core diameter is very small, core area is small. So which area for coupling we have to consider? This small area. So this A is the area which is the smaller of the fiber area, which is the smaller of the fiber core cross section or emission area of the source. So A is the area which is taken as smaller of the fiber core cross section or emission area. Fiber core cross section or emission area of the device, out of those which is smaller area, that we have to consider in the calculation. That is the A area of the source. Source radius RD, and N is the numerical aperture of the fiber. So PC is equal to pi into 1 minus R into A into RD into N square. R is the Fresnel reflection coefficient. A is the smaller area of either fiber or source radiating area, and RD is the radiance of the source. N is the fiber numerical aperture. So this is the LED or ELED, S LED and ELED. Surface emitting LED, edge emitting LED. S LED, ELED. The structure of strip geometry is shown here. So 65 nanometer strip is there, and total width dimension is 350. Out of 65 micrometer is a strip. Generally, the strip geometry has 2 to 65 micrometer strips. With region is very thin. So here the active region is shown. It is very thin, and on side of the active region there is a carrier confinement region. So this is the carrier confinement region, two regions, and these remaining two nothing but the conductive to one more substrate. So there is a silicon dioxide below the mediation, and that silicon dioxide layer allows only very thin, very small area for conduction. So that makes the active region conduction only in very small area widthwise, and that gives this particular divergence of 120 degree, whereas degree and in vertical direction and horizontally it is giving 120 Lambert distribution spread of the beam, divergence of the beam. So this is having length of the active region as 150 micrometer, whereas the width is only 65 micrometer. Okay. So these are confinement layers, as well as these are the optical guidance layer. Okay. Photons are not allowed to go outside this. So both optical guidance, carrier confinement, optical confinements are provided. Strip geometry is provided in the edge emitter. Now why it is edge emitter? Because this is the junction and it is not emitting from the surface. It is emitting out of this edge, so along the junction. So it is not emitting from this surface. It is emitting along the edge. So it is edge emitter LED. There is a edge emitter LED in which transparent guiding layers are there. Okay, transparent guiding layers are there with very thin active layer. Micrometer active layer is a thin active layer. In order that the light produced in the active layer spreads into a transparent guidance layer, reduce the self absorption of the active layer. Okay, so light produced in the active layer is transparent layer is guiding the photons to reduce the self absorption in the active layer. Self absorption is also reduced by providing the transparent layers side to the active layer, and the confinement optical confinement layers are uh, last one. So this first and fifth, and this nearby which are confining carrier, they are transparent. Okay, so photons other it is different from laser. So laser has having current carrier confinement as well optical confinement are nearby layers. Where in LEDs the carrier confinements are near layers, whereas optical guiding layers are the next to those. So transparent guiding layers are there first two and one side and other side, and this gives the active layer spread into photon spread into transparent guiding layer that reduces the self absorption of the active layer. Active layer is matching exactly photon energy, so active layer can absorb immediately, whereas the other regions are having higher band gap energy. Those cannot absorb the photons. So photons which goes into the neighboring layers are very safely can travel through the edge emitter. So because it is edge emitter and photon generated has to travel 150 micrometer distance along the edge and then get emitted. Now, in this travel, they can be absorbed in the active region because active region is having same uh, band gap energy, isn't it? So, photon generated on the same energy, and if it is traveling same material for 150 micrometer distance, it can be absorbed again in the same material. But this photon is goes into this region or this region, this photon is having less uh, energy than band gap energy. So it cannot be absorbed in this region, isn't it? So this photon is having less band gap energy than this band gap energy. So this photon is not absorbed. So these become transparent layers for the photon to carry that photon outside the uh, region, outside the structure. And if the photon have to travel along the active region only, then the photon will have any more possibility of reabsorption in that region. To avoid that, the nearby transparent regions are provided. So carrier confinement regions are transparent layers, and those transparent layers carry the photons outside the LED in edge-wise transmission. In edge transmission, this is the problem. In surface transmission, immediately are emitted. No, not much time they remain in the active region. So this is the difference we have to keep in mind in edge emitter LED. In edge emitter LED, near region layers of the active layers, they are transparent and they are optically guiding layers. They are carry the photon age-wise to emit and they avoid the reabsorption in the active region. So this question is there in the 8th or 9th, 8th this one assignment. So you have to remember this. So the consequent of the waveguiding narrows the beam divergence to half around 30 degrees. Okay. In the plane perpendicular to junction, the divergence is 30 degrees. So this waveguiding is there that layers are also very and that divergence is reduced to the 30 degree. Okay. So lack of or it narrows the beam. Lack of waveguiding in the plane of injection in the junction gives with half power width of around 120 degrees. So there is not waveguiding in the plane. So in this direction there is no waveguiding, and while traveling 120/50 in the lower or upper material width, there is every possibility that within the device itself the photon direction has diverged. So while emerging out as a beam, it will obviously have covered all the 120 degree possible. Okay. So lack of wave guiding is there in that direction, perpendicular direction. So propagating light is emitted at one end of the face, the other end of the face. So if the light is coming in this direction, there is a reflector on the other side of the edge. So mirror is there. So this is also having the anti-reflective coating on the emitter and the end face. Okay. Anti-reflective coating is the coating which reduces the Fresnel effect. Okay, so Fresnel reflection it reduces and maximum light it gives into the next medium. So radiance is very high. Radiance is very high for this LED. Obviously, it should be high because it is double heterojunction and it offers increase the coupling efficiencies. Why it is offering increase the coupling efficiency? Because the beam is very narrow in one, at least one direction, 30 degree. So it is pencil-like beam. So it increases the coupling efficiency into a small numerical aperture fiber also compared with the surface emitter area, because surface emitter area emits in through surface and it is having very wide divergence angles. So in edge emitter, at least one side the divergence angle is limited to 30 degrees. So it is increasing the coupling efficiency into also into small numerical aperture fibers. However, these are the advantages. That is disadvantage. However, surface emitter radiates more power into air. Surface emitter radiates more air, 2.5 to 3 times. So surface emitter radiates more power than edge emitter, since the emitted light is less affected by reabsorption. Surface emitter immediately emits from junction directly to the fiber. But in case of edge emitter, photon generated has to travel complete 150 distance and then that get emitted. In during this process travel, that may be reabsorption possible and interfacial recombination is also possible. Interfacial recombination and reabsorption are also possible. So it is having less power. These emitters are having less power emission as compared to surface emitters. Emitter is having very diverged beam. Edge emitter is having pencil-like beam or direct beam. Okay, having the directional property, 30-degree divergence. Okay. So these are the differences, some advantage, disadvantage of edge emitter and surface emitter. Okay. So LED characteristics, light output power is shown on current is shown. As we go on increasing the current, LED radiance goes on increasing gradually. So this is very linear property. So LED is linear and laser diode is not linear. So as LED is linear, in the advantages of LED we have seen, this is useful for analog signals. Useful for analog signal modulation. So actual, this is the theoretical property shown, very straight line, very linear, but practically it is having slightly non-linearity. The light output power into air against the DC drive current of LEDs are shown. One is ELGAS surface emitter with a 50 micrometer diameter and dot contact, metal dot contact, and second is LGS edge emitter. Okay, one is surface emitter, one is edge emitter with 65 micrometer width strip and 100 micrometer length. Okay. Due to 100 micrometer length, there is a reabsorption and the output reduces. Okay. Whereas the surface emitter has less, more divergence and less directivity. So this is the light output current. Same is there in the current and light output on the X and Y. So for 100, 200, 300, if you observe in the surface emitter, there is a large intensity, light output in the milliwatt, higher output power. Where in the edge emitter, for same 100, 200, 300, the power. Okay. So why less optical power for edge emitter? Because edge emitter are having more reabsorption, because 100 micrometer length it has to travel the photon and they have to get emitted into through age wise. So it is having the possibility of reabsorption. Then optical power is lesser in the edge emitter. How much it is? 2.5 to 3 times lesser. Or surface emitter is having 2.5 to 3 times more than the edge emitter, isn't it? So that's why the graph shows the for same current 2.5 to 3 times more optical power. These are the LED characteristics, and for these two, approximately same LEDs. These are the 50 micrometer diameter conduction and all, and this is having 65 micrometer wide strip. Then characteristic of surface emitters are shown here. The surface emitter radiates significantly more optical power into air, isn't it? Surface emitter radiates more optical power into air. An edge emitter and both devices are linear and moderate drive current. Both surface and edge emitter. LED itself is linear. Edge emitters have substantially better modulation bandwidth. Modulation bandwidth is better in edge emitter. In order to of hundreds of megahertz than comparable surface emitter structure. Okay, or same area. Edge emitter are having better bandwidth but less optical output power. Okay, and it is possible to construct edge emitter LEDs with narrow line width than surface emitter. Edge emitter can be narrow line width devices, so more monochromatic. Okay, but there are some manufacturing problems with more complicated structure. Okay, and heat sink is required in that case. Okay, if the narrow line width is material is required, construction that require the heat sink and the construction complications. So overall, what is that the surface emitter, edge emitter has focused beam, surface emitter has coupling efficiency less, edge emitter has coupling efficiency more, whereas surface emitter has optical output power more and edge emitter has optical power less. Okay. Similarly, edge emitter has more modulation bandwidth, hundreds megahertz in order of hundreds of megahertz comparable to surface emitter, and the edge emitter construction is difficult. So these are the advantage disadvantage comparison. So this is the reference optical fiber communication principles and practice by John Engineer, assistant assisted by M. Yusuf Jamro, which is the publisher. Print is called third edition 2009 book. I have referred. So you can refer this book or any other book you can have. So this is the yes. We will continue tomorrow problem solving. This problem solving requires at least 1 hour. So we can have this lecture tomorrow. So tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock we will have this problem solving. So out of this assignment, 3 assignments, only one assignment will be made active. That is, I think, seventh assignment will be made active. 8 and 9 are having. Yes, we will continue tomorrow problem solving. This problem solving requires at least 1 hour. So we can have this lecture tomorrow. So tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock we will have this problem solving. So out of this assignment, 3 assignments, only one assignment will be